Hello, and welcome to Tuesday DJ Gig Tips, brought to you by Vibo, the music planning app. I'm going to have a couple tips in this video. So this is like a good bonus video for the gig tips, seeing how we're a few weeks behind. I'm going to try to get caught up on those real soon. First thing, I'm using my new Galaxy S21 Plus phone. This is the newest technology available, but I got the phones at a deal when I switched carriers. I used the phone for the car show that I did the other day, and you guys thought the video looked great and the audio sounded good, so I thought we'd try it for a regular video. This would be a lot easier than using, this rig right here. So, the setup's going to be easier, and I can just turn it on. It's pretty effortless, loads fast. We'll give it a try. If you guys like the audio in this and the video, let me know. Perhaps this is what we'll be using from now on for these types of videos. Also, I'm struggling as to where to look, because if I look at myself, it looks like I'm looking that way. I think I'm supposed to look here, so I'm going to try that in this video, and hopefully this doesn't look like I'm looking kind of off over here into kind of oblivion where you can't see. I wanted to talk about the car show that I did the other day. There are a couple questions that came in on that I wanted to address. First question was, good job. You didn't say much about the music you played, but the other day you said that you don't play oldies at car shows. I like to play songs from around the time the cars were made. Usually that means a mix. First of all, I'm going to do a playlist video later this week, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to tell you every song that I played. And maybe this isn't for you to take these songs verbatim and play them at a car show. It's just to give you an idea of the types of things that I play, opposed to the American Graffiti soundtrack, which is what every DJ seems to want to play at car shows. It all sounds like ball but a ball but a dip 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 Charlie Brown. I don't do that. So it's different. I'm happy to share it with you, but they are older songs. They're songs typically from 60s, 70s, maybe a little bit of 80s stuff. And I'll explain my philosophy on that too when I do that video. So stay tuned for that. It's a little different than what a lot of people do, but I got a lot of unsolicited compliments and people wanting my card, wanting to know when the next show was that I was going to be DJing at for car shows. It was cool. So it was well received, different, non-conventional, but very well received and refreshing for a lot of folks that were there. A lot of folks. It was really good. The other question that came through, are those Evolve 50s? Interesting choice for an outdoor event. I'd have put up point speakers high up on poles for good projection on the parking lot. Now, you need to use whatever gear works for you. A lot of this has to do with your personal sound objectives. I can tell you this. I'm not only a guy who's DJ car shows, but I'm also someone who attends them as a classic car owner. I've got that 65 Mustang. Now, when I go to shows, I'm not there to win trophies. I'm there to hang out and meet other car guys. Now, when it comes to car guys, I think there's two types of car guys at these car shows. Guy number one took his retirement fund and threw it at a car that someone else already built. He doesn't know anything about his car. He just bought a built car. And when you run into this guy at a car show and you speak to him, he's usually got a little gray mustache and sunglasses and a hat like this. You don't say much. And you think, well, the guy's got his nose in the air. He's a snob. Maybe he is, but I think what's really happening with this guy is he's shy and he's embarrassed that he doesn't know anything about his car, so he doesn't speak. That happens a lot. There's another type of guy at a car show, and that's the guy who built his car, who's owned it for a while and knows every inch of it. That's the guy I want to talk to, because I didn't build my entire car, but I built a lot of it. Everything I could one-handed. Family and friends have done all kinds of great stuff for me, but it's all been done in the garage. I haven't hired anything done except for the transmission rebuild. We took it out, had it rebuilt, put it back in. So I know a lot about the car. I have made every decision on every part on the car. I have done the interior. I've done a lot of tweaking. I've done a lot of trim work. yeah, I've done some engine stuff. I've done tons of stuff on this car. So when I go to car shows, I want to talk to other builders. Built, not bought. That's my thing. The reason I'm telling you all this is because as an attendee and as somebody who not only wants to talk to guys who built their own cars, but I want to answer questions about my car, I need to be able to talk. And what I don't want to do is compete with blaring, loud, mid-heavy music from the DJ. And it happens a lot. And as I mentioned before about the music, a lot of DJs like to play the American Graffiti soundtrack. It's 50s and 60s and mid-heavy music. The music shouldn't be the main attraction at any car show. The cars should be the main attraction. And the conversations about the cars, to me, is more important than the music being played. The music is ambience, And if it's an all 50s car show where everything is old school 1950s, yeah, maybe you want to play that type of music. But most car shows that I go to, there's stuff from the 1920s or teens all the way up to modern day. There's all kinds of stuff there. So there's I think should be a variety of music, and that ranges in styles and recording qualities and things like that. And most of it isn't like really, mid-heavy stuff like the 50s music. It's more, stereo stuff like the 70s, well-produced stuff. There's a lot of different sounds in that music. But when you're blaring mid-range music at people, especially through a horn-loaded top cabinet, which is what he's talking about when he's talking about the point speakers. He's talking about a woofer and a horn, two-way top cabinet. Yeah, those horns tend to honk. And if you don't have really good files and a really good system, it's going to be mid-heavy. So, getting back to the speakers for a minute, the cool thing about these compact array systems is they're ideal, I feel. Absolutely ideal for any outdoor event that I do. And the outdoor events that I'm doing are car shows, as you saw, but I'm also doing outdoor wedding ceremonies. And I'm doing outdoor cocktail, both of which are social events. The wedding ceremony, people are talking at the altar, you're just playing kind of background music, but you definitely don't want it blaring. People need to hear it, but they shouldn't have to scream over it when they're speaking at cocktail or at the car show. Arrays, they project very well outdoors if your objective is music ambience. If you're trying to be the dominant sound, the dominant thing out there, yeah, use those two-way top cabinets with the horns. You're going to dominate that mid-frequency. But the problem is, people are going to have to scream each other to communicate. And they may just get fed up and not talk. Or they're going to get tired or winded. And a lot of these old timers who are at car shows are hard of hearing anyway. So it's difficult for them to hear what you're saying when all they can hear is ball but a ball but a dip dip dip. So yeah, it's better, I think, to use these compact array systems for something like this. The parking lot heard just fine, and there was a lot behind me. It was actually the grass behind the marquees. They heard me. I went back there. I always walk the lot to see where my volumes are. And you could hear it back there, but you could definitely talk. No, I would have liked it louder back there, but it was quite far away. I did not need horn-loaded tops to throw that far. I was still creating ambience. They were still tapping their feet to music. Yeah, I think it's the best choice for outdoor events. But that's me. Those are my sound objectives. That's why I do it. I want people to be able to talk, but hear the music and hear all the sounds they want to hear, the nice stuff. And none of those harsh mids they really don't need to hear, especially at super loud amplified volumes. So, one more thing that I will note about some of these compact array speakers, like I used Evolve 30s in this case, but it could be the LD Systems 95 Go, it could be anything you have. What's interesting is, at the right volume, you can contain the music within an area. It's very difficult to do with horn-loaded tops, because they tend to project very far and sometimes beyond your area. For instance, if I'm in my backyard and I'm having a barbecue and I want some music, I can bring a small Melly 5 out there, column array, I can play music everyone can hear, everyone can talk over, and the neighbors aren't being disturbed by the music. It's the same thing with the outdoor wedding ceremonies or the outdoor cocktails that I do. They're neat tools. You just got to know how to use them. And one more thing I will note is that, although you may own a set of column arrays or compact arrays, you got to have a clean audio chain from start to finish. You got to have not only a decent speaker, but you have to have decent sound processing with your mixing board, solid ins and outs, and really good music files too. It's kind of like if you had a car. Everything was great. Everything was fast, performance, high dollar, but you put terrible gas in the car. Bad gas. Car's not going to run well. Everything has to do a good job. From the gasoline to the engine, to the components, to the electrical system, everything has to be tip-top for the car to run right. If one thing's off, it's not going to run right. Same thing with an audio system. So you got to make sure you have a strong audio chain when you're doing this kind of stuff. Anyway, this is a very long video, and I got a couple tips in here, and I rambled on a little bit. Forgive me. Let me know what you think of this phone quality for the audio, for the video, if this is something that you think I should do from now on, opposed to this. Let me know in the comment section, and I apologize for this action that I've done a few times. I'm doing my best to look right there. So anyway, that's it. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Practice and enjoy.